Because of the growing ranks of women in science, then there has been an increase in the amount of mentoring that goes on between senior women and young. There are just simply more senior women to mentor younger women than there were in the past. Um, as I said, I came from a time when I was in college, then women interested in chemistry were encouraged to go into nutrition. That was, seemed to be the only field. It's a very important field, but it was the only field open to a lot of women, and that's not true anymore. I feel like that you can pretty much get where you want to go if you put enough effort into it. It would seem that everything is more open now to women. There are still biases, and in some places more pronounced than others, in some fields more pronounced than others. Sometimes women are prejudged with the idea that, well, she's of mothering age and she's going to have children and then she's going to drop out. And women don't need to drop out if they're given the proper support. And as I said, that partly comes from who they choose as a partner, but it also comes from an institution to make it possible to actually deliver babies and take care of them in the first month or two of their from their birth, and come up with child care solutions that give them a way to be a good mother as well as continue to be an active scientist.
What's changed? When I started in artificial intelligence, most of the community were young and male. The community has aged a bit. It's still by far male. I would say that no more than 7 or 8% of the PhDs in computer science are held by women. In artificial intelligence, the numbers aren't any different. But in the early days, learning was almost frowned upon. The idea was that there was this one right way to do things, so you just build a machine that did it the one right way and you'd be finished. That turned out not to be the case. And I noticed that as my colleagues aged and had children of their own, that all of a sudden learning was looked upon more kindly, and so was the role of human cognition. I'm not only a computer scientist, I'm a cognitive scientist. So although I've done lots of the artificial intelligence things, like been on senior program committees for the major conferences in the world, I've also been the chair of the Cognitive Science Society, which is a mix of psychologists, linguists, neuroscientists, philosophers, and computer scientists. It's a wonderful mix of people. And there, the role of human cognition as a way of solving problems becomes much clearer to me. There's much more tolerance for that now in the funding community, I believe, I hope, and in the artificial intelligence community. There still are too few women. I find that very sad and disturbing. There certainly is less blatant opposition to the idea that women might make a contribution than there was when I started. It may be because it's not politically correct to voice that, but I really do think that women have a better shot at succeeding in this field now than they did when I started.
For women, I'm not a senior person, but I've been here for since September 2001. And when I first started that first year, the gender equity program didn't exist yet. And that year, I spent most of the year just learning how to teach and to teach. I hardly had any time to, spend on research and writing. But since the gender equity program came about, I felt like I've gained a great deal. I've learned a lot about the college. I've learned a lot about just what being an academic is through that mentoring program.